Benjamin can have love for the truckie. Beautiful minds, but we love getting ugly. Risk takers with a clover, man, we love getting lucky. You run, we chase fire, I love when it ducks me. Tones go off, house watch, read the address out. 1075, get up off the magic couch. 500 gallons prepared for the baddest drought. Who else you want on the way when disaster's out? Can't even get a little bit rattled when you enter with exit apparel. Mayday, member down, they'll drag you. You won't get this from every Tom, Dick, and Harold, but here's a view from the top floor with Mickey Farrell.
How software got you buried in tabs, logins, and paper sign-in sheets? You've got one system for training, another for reporting, something else for alerting, scheduling, inspections. You get the idea. That's why departments across the country are switching to Alpine Software's Red Alert, the tailor-made fire service software that brings everything together in one system with one bill and no more paperwork. Red Alert replaces your pile of platforms with a single, customizable solution that handles training, alerting, inspections, truck checks, percentage reports, award points, ISO prep, OSHA tracking, the list goes on, everything you do your way. No two Red Alert systems are the same. Alpine builds your software around the unique needs of your department. And when it's time to switch, Alpine will convert all your old data with no setup fees at zero risk. Their entire team is based in Rochester, New York, which means no support runaround. You can pick up the phone and speak to somebody who understands the fire service and gets your issues fixed. With over 30 years of trust and an average customer tenure of 19 years, Alpine's mission is to be the last software purchase your department ever makes. It's battle-tested, firefighter approved, and nearest ready. So if you're ready to save time, reduce costs, and finally get control of your operations, visit alpinesoftware.com for a completely free consultation. That's alpinesoftware.com. Red Alert by Alpine Software. Built for the job, backed by firefighters.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of A View from the Top Floor. This week's episode needs no introduction whatsoever. Firefighter, artist, and dear friend, Zack Newton. I had Zack on the show, episode 22 from FDIC 2 years ago. We sat down and caught up a little bit. This time we met up in Aurora, Illinois at the Firemanship Conference, a conference that, if it's on your radar, I highly recommend it. Cody and the boys from Fire Nuggets do an incredible job. It's run very smoothly, and I think the word for that conference is classy. Very classy conference. Again, I can't recommend that enough. But Zack, he's one of those guys that if you're lucky enough to call him a friend, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't necessarily call him a personal friend, you know what I'm talking about as well. He has an energy about himself. And it doesn't matter who you are, either personal friend, complete stranger, the way he treats people is incredible. It's unmatched. Truly a genuine, nice person. I'm so honored to have him on the show, and I'm so glad that I got to sit down, share a cup of coffee, talk about brotherhood, talk about life, talk about firefighting, and talk about our friendship. So without further ado, firefighter, artist, and dear friend, Zack Newton.
Firemanship 2025. It's really cool with our friendship and how we met is that I get to run into you all over the country.
Yeah, this is the third time this year.
Yeah. So it's cool. But
It's cool. It's good.
how did you get involved with this conference specific where, I mean, if you look around, you're doing all the artwork for this, right? T-shirts?
Yeah, shirts. The conference art for the year was my artwork this year. So
What a huge honor.
oh, it's wild. They told me right before we left for the break. I think they have like 5 shirts left right now. They've sold out of all of them. Yeah, so
I'm blessed enough that you design stuff for me, and
yeah,
I can't keep that in stock. Not that I sell apparel, but whenever I go anywhere, they look at the shirts, like, oh, it's a cool shirt. I'm like, it's a Zack Newton original. And next thing you know, there's like a line out the door for T-shirts. I'm like, well, I gotta get a sign that says Zack Newton,
I'm a nobody from nowhere. I just doodle, that's all.
No, you're not. See, so I've been getting to some thought, because we talked last night about you getting involved with some teaching, from the tactical side of things, and I think that everyone has a role to play, whether that's on the training ground or it's where you fit in leading up to the training ground. You're making a difference, and you've developed a brand within a culture of a subculture. I know we've talked in the past with FDIC, we sat down and did a little quick interview. That was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been friends now for a few years, and getting to really know you, it's really cool to see how your personal experiences in everyday life become today's artwork, which have created a subculture within the fire society, you know?
Yeah.
But what brought you to that?
I don't know, honestly. It was I mean, I showed you some of the artwork, you know, from years ago, and it was always just, art's been a creative outlet for me. And I think being an artistic individual in a job that's not very, a lot of guys don't see it as being a artistic job, if that makes sense, you know, but there is an art to being a decent fireman.
Yeah.
You know, and understanding, as you put it, your flow path, you know, your zen and everything. Like I can encompass all that into an art piece whenever I start working on it. And that's a zen moment for me, and being able to sit down and work on it. A lot of it just came from some good peer pressure for some really, really close friends that were like, dude, you got to do something with it. And so bought an iPad and started kind of messing around with it. And I got tired of the, you know, dude, you need to do stickers and shirts. And oh man, I want this hanging up in my firehouse, you know? And so I started that kind of brand in the studio, and, you know, tax guy got mad at me because of taxes that year. And he was like, dude, you need an LLC. And I was like, all right. But it's opened up so many doors and incredible opportunities, and like getting to work with the Yard Foundation and doing memorial shirts for guys to continue a legacy and you know, memorialize their sacrifice stuff, and then just, you know, stuff like this, and being able to a conference shirt and being able to give back and, you know, help out with classes. Or there's been a ton of times that, you know, I've helped sponsor people to be able to go to a class because somebody did that to me years ago, and I wanted to be able to give back. You know,
That's great.
It's just, you put in good energy, good effort into the world will give it back. You talk about the job you give thing, you know, you give your all to the job will give it to you tenfold.
Yeah.
I'd heard that as a little kid, but I was never put that way or quite as elegantly. Like, I grew up in my dad's firehouse, and it was just one of those, I just always wanted to try to do my part and try to do the right part.
I always say good people gravitate to great places. I think you're the perfect example of that. You're just a good person, and people see that in you, and it's brought you to places you never thought, because you're just a good person. You do the right thing. On top of your talent, I mean, that's a given. But something you said before was the artistic side of this job, and I think that we're at a crossroads within the fire service in general, where that old hoorah, like aggressive fireman, like that's still very real.
Yeah.
But I think we're starting to see the lighter side of the job. In the sense, lighter side is where we're actually stopping to smell the roses a little bit and realizing that every walk of life is a part of this job, and there's creativity within the job. Yeah. Everything from the way we carry ourselves and our posture, which we talked about last night. Posture is huge.
Posture is huge. How you carry your tool.
How you carry your tools. That's all an art form.
Your iron's on your shoulder versus carrying them under your arm. Right. You know, your hook's upside down, or it's right side up, ready to go. Those little things matter.
The details. That's the art form behind the fire service. It's an art that I don't know if we're losing. I don't think it's developed yet. I think that through your work, you're developing that in a fun sense, where you can see a t-shirt and say, oh, what does that mean? The Bronx Shuffle is the one you did for me. Yeah. If you ask what the Bronx Shuffle is, it's the way you conduct yourself when you leave the fire building. Yeah. Everyone's watching on the other side. Yeah. It's how you walk out of the fire building and carry yourself.
Hey, what's funny is like that piece, right? I don't remember what I had it actually captioned as on Instagram or on social media. There's so many people that could see exactly what I was saying and what I was able to convey, you know? And there's a lot of times, guys, it's in the eye of the beholder, right? Like, some guys will see it and they're way left field of what I wanted. But I'm like, man, I didn't even think about it. I had a guy, he messaged me years ago. I had one at middle of the night. We made a medical run. I left my bunker pants on the ground. And as we're on this med local, a box came in, and it was a 2-story apartment, fire's blowing out of the breezeway. And so EMS crew gets there, hey, you guys get out of here, go to that, because should have been on the box. So we ended up being second due on the second alarm. But I had to tell my captain, I was like, hey, can we swing by the firehouse? Which we happened to be going by to go to that fire. Swung by, ran in, second alarm gets dropped, we're en route, you know, and it didn't delay anything. They hadn't, you know, filled out the second yet. But it was one of those, all of my art's me making fun of myself or something that, you know, my own humility of like, oh man, I messed this up. But the art was me running through the bay, and I'm holding my pants and I'm running towards the engine that's speeding off. A retired guy messaged me, and he was like, oh man, he goes, dude, I can't tell you how many times I wake up in the middle of the night and I wake up hearing our box tone, and I'm getting out of bed and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm missing the rig. Or in my dream, I'm missing the rig and I got to, you know, run and get to it. And I was like, I left my pants on the ground on an EMS run. I drew it. I made fun of myself for it. And I was like, man, I've never done it again, you know, because I messed up that day.
I think it's funny, like, that, you know, he called and said about the dream, because I have dreams all the time that, like, the little things that go wrong. I get to the front door and can't find my gloves. And now, or you can't get your gloves on, right?
Yeah.
Another one is you're at the firehouse and you wander too far away from the firehouse. You have to go run to the store, or you have, for whatever reason, it's a dream, so it's not reality, but your car's parked 3 blocks away, you have to go move your car, and then you realize you missed a run. Like these are these crazy dreams that I have, but I've heard with retired guys, that's dreams they have all the time. It's like missing runs and whatnot. I don't know, just the humility behind the art I think is important, and that again carries over to humility on the fire ground, and you documenting that and sharing that. I think everybody can relate to it, and why I think your art is so successful. It takes the humility, it takes the things that no one's talking about, and it puts it into an art form. It gives it a little bit of an edge, and then it's a lesson. It's a lesson within your art,
Yeah, and it's cool. Like I had a guy earlier, he said, he's like, oh man, dude, your character that you draw, who most of the time it's a ginger mustache with a little bit of a curl, right? Like it's me. But he's like, oh man, he's like, you've had somebody reoccurring throughout that looks just like my driver, or oh man, and I get messages a lot from folks that are like, oh, this is hilarious. This same thing happened to me. Or, I'll have some little minute detail in there that I'm like, nobody's gonna notice this.
Yeah.
Like the cabinet hanging off of the kitchen, and then it's got the work order on it, and everyone's like, ah, dude, man, we got those hanging up. It's just the little details. Yeah. But guys relate to the most minute thing, and they're, oh man, that same thing's happened, and it's cool being able to relate to people.
Yeah.
I always, we've talked plenty this weekend on frustrations with the job and culture and the fire service and just navigating all that, but it's the same circus, just different clowns, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter whether you're in a 10,000 member department, a 2,000, or a 200 or a 20 member department. There's a lot of the same frustrations, but it's navigating all of that.
It's almost like healing through art. Like you're healing the job almost through art and laughter. How do you find the time, because you're so busy now with your artwork? It's not just you're doodling here and there and you're making a sticker or a t-shirt. It's nonstop. Like Art Foundation, this conference, I'm sure there's another conference coming. You're doing work for me. You're doing work for just about everybody.
Yeah.
Where do you find the time?
I have to be really disciplined about it. I say discipline. It's some days it's hard. There's weeks that running errands, getting overtime, tired because we were up for 14 runs after 7 p.m. Like just stuff. And so it's hard to find it, but I can feel whenever I'm getting to that point that I'm like, man, I need to just stop. I need to reset. I need to draw, and I need to focus. So it's difficult from times. Like the flight here, I was able to had a 2-hour delay coming here. So I was like, man, cool. I'm in the airport, just chilling, can just sit in the corner and start sketching. And I knocked out a piece for our October t-shirt. So for my fire department, they have a t-shirt design contest every year. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's a no-brainer. Who's going to win that?
Well, it's voted on by the members, so there's some good submissions and stuff. But it was just one of those. I was like, oh man, I can stop, and it was a way to just kind of reset. It was a busy week this week, and
you ever sit down to draw, and you just don't want to?
Yeah.
And you get mad at yourself. You're like, I need to be drawing right now, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Well, not how you feel, but how do you navigate that? Because I have the same problem where I sit down, I know there's a deadline behind something I'm writing, or a conference coming up, I have to build a PowerPoint for, and I completely shut down. I don't want to do it. And we spoke last night about burnout a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've been giving it some thought since then. I think when you truly love something, it's impossible to be burnt out by it.
Yeah.
You need to pause it sometimes.
Yeah.
But with deadlines, how do you make that pause, and how do you navigate that?
Man, that's a phenomenal question. I like hanging out with my wife, us traveling, us going and doing something little simple, but being able to just kind of recenter with just us, working out. I like really loud, angry music, and people look at me and they're like, what? And some of the stuff I listen to. And it's always been this way for years, decades. I listened to it, and I used to play drums when I was in high school. I was on a marching band. I was in our like off season in our actual band and played drum set stuff. So I listened to the drums, and I like really loud, angry music, but I focus through all of the noise kind of, and I just focus on the beat of the drum, right? And it's that tempo, it sets everything. So like when I go work out, It's kind of chaotic. It's loud. I'm lifting weights. I'm running. I'm doing stuff. But it's being able to like focus and get through all that noise and being able to focus on what I have to. And that, like for me, that's how I kind of reset and find that motivation. Same thing when I draw. There's a lot of times I'll put music on and it's really, but I'm focusing so much on my art, it's really drowning out that noise that I hear, if that makes sense. And it's hard. There's times that I'll blow through deadlines that I'm just like, dude, I don't want to work on this, or I'll put a lot of energy into it and I'm like, I get the, hey, run with it. This is what we want. And I put all this energy into something and then it's not really the way we were wanting to go, and it's like, oh man, I made this, and it's like, check it out. And if they're going, I don't know. You're like, oh, well, shit. Like, I just put 8 hours of work into this and I don't like it, And you told me, hey, run with it. And so it's demotivating, but it's hard. Coming to conferences is cool, and it's motivating to see, but then there's that part of it that it feels like we're going to church camp when you're a kid, right? You go to church, you're all fired up, you come back, like, yeah, and then you just kind of get back into the routine of everything. And it's kind of like that coming to conferences sometimes too. You come and you're fired up, like, man, this is awesome. And then you go back to the reality of your firehouse in your department, you're like, shit,
Yeah, I struggle with that, is that, like, obviously I'm at work, then like everything I'm doing is fire related. And I've lost almost my identity, I feel, from things that I love. Obviously I love the fire service, and there's no question about that. It's my entire life.
Yeah.
It's all of our lives. That's why we're here.
All we've ever wanted to do.
Yeah. But like, I also had a lot of things that I love to do as well. Surfing, fishing, running, like they're all things that I replace those loves in my life with now the fire service when I'm home. Top Floor Tactics, podcasts, lecturing, traveling. It's all good stuff, but like this is where that I don't think it's burnout, because when you love something so truly and dearly, you have to pause it to find yourself again. I find through running, because that's the easiest thing to do, right? Like I don't live by the ocean anymore. Used to be surfing. I just paddle out, and if there's no waves, you sit there and you just clear your head, reset, paddle back in if there's no waves, and then you go about your day. For me now it's running. Even when I'm running now, I'm still thinking about deadlines, where I have to be, what class I'm going to be teaching next. Whatever that is, it's like, I don't know. I want to talk a little bit about how we navigate that side of our life that we struggle with, because we love the fire service.
Right.
But now it's become a career, obviously our careers, but now it's a job beyond our career.
Right.
And I don't know if I love it in that way. And then when I think about stopping it, I realize that I truly love it that way.
Right. So like, it boils all down to balance, right? Like it's like the ocean. There's high tide, low tide. Those waves come in and out. And there's seasons where it's a lot harder, and there's seasons where it's a lot easier. And it's, I think for most guys, like, and gals, you go to a string of jobs and you're on, because you get that high, right? And one of the reasons I love being at my crew, we're all really hard on ourselves. And I know in a podcast a while back you had talked about how you don't really get to enjoy the job post-fire, because you're like, oh man, dude, I should have done that, or could have done that, or could have moved to this position, or oh man, and we're all really hard on ourselves about that. But I think being able to stop sometimes and go, oh man, dude, I did this right, I did this well, and we're really hard on ourselves and others, because you have that, man, I want to be operating at my highest ability possible. And sometimes, man, it's a bad day for me, right? I didn't sleep well, I didn't have a good day. My morning routine was messed up because, some asshat cuts you off, or, whatever it is, and it just kind of throws your groove off a little bit, and then suddenly it compounds into, a little thing turns into a big thing later on. You're like, man. But it's all a mentality thing, and it's a mindset thing.
Yeah, you were just saying about how we all want to operate at our highest ability, right? And I call that our Zen efficiency. The ability to accept the fact we don't have control. And when you accept that, you gain complete control of the situation, regardless of the situation of discomfort. That's where they say that you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, which that term gets used quite a bit, but there's so much value in that. But I think it takes the brothers and sisters that we go to fires with, they crawl down hallways with, to remind you, hey, you did the right thing there. Yeah. Because you're not going to remember the things that you did right.
Yeah.
In the moment, you're like, boom, I nailed that. But then when you go lay down in your bed, like we talked about, or you're driving home from work, you're thinking about, man, I should have done this. I should have said that. I should have went left instead of right.
Yeah.
All these things are real, and that haunts us.
Yeah.
But that haunting is good. Listening to Kevin Shea just talked a couple hours ago about the roof rope rescue in 1991. Famous rescue, obviously. He said that in the moment, there was no thinking.
Right.
And it was all just relying on his training. I was drilling with the guys recently, and I said the same thing. It's like, anytime I've actually truly operated at my highest level, it was training. It was not about thinking going left or thinking going right. Did I make the right move? Did I make the wrong move? You always make the right move. And that's the great example that he gave this morning.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great example, is that if you train to a level of expertise, when it's time to perform, you absolutely will. And you can't question it.
Right.
That's where instinct comes in. Instinct you cannot teach. It's developed over time. But when you start to develop it, you have to trust it. And when you don't trust it is when you fail.
Yeah. Yeah. And that instinct, right? That burnout feeling that you get sometimes, it's that instinct saying, hey, we've been going too hard for too long. We got to slow down a little bit. I think.
No, I love how you tie that back to that, because I think that's what I'm going through now. I was taking the summer off from traveling, from lecturing, from doing anything. I just wanted to sit on the beach and write about whatever. It didn't have to be about crawling down hallways. I just wanted to write. And here I am, we're in Illinois. I'm in Alabama next week, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? I'm going against it, because it becomes a drug almost. Right. That adrenaline of like, I almost feel like if I'm not doing it, I'm losing it.
Right.
But in reality, you have to lose it a little bit to regain it stronger.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like hitting the gym, right? You hit a plateau. Not that I'm the peak physical fitness or anything like that. I'm proud of myself on the ability. I've been going to the gym a lot more lately. But you hit that kind of plateau on, your weights. And then you're like, man, dude, I'm not seeing the gains anymore. I'm not, I can't get any stronger. And then you kind of drop back a little bit on weight and get back into a little bit more reps. And then you're like, man, let me try these out. And you're like, oh, dude. And you kind of hit that gain. The fire floor, right? Like, you push in, you're like, man, we're not really getting it. What are we doing? Well, let's back up a step or two. What am I missing, right? Hey, it's in the attic above us, or hey, it's this room we passed. It's actually burning in there. Hey, we got fire back behind. Sometimes you just got to take a step back for a second, look at it all.
I love how you said that. Just talking with the guys that worked the other day, we had a fire a couple of years ago. I was the engine officer, and he said, "Hey, Lou, you remember when you told us to back the line out, and we're just going to regroup and then give it another push?" And I said, I remember doing it. Did I say to do that? And they're like, yeah, you absolutely said, let's reposition this line. Let's back out for a second, regroup, and then make the push again. Yeah. The second push went flawless. The first one was a nightmare. Yeah. So it was like, I don't remember saying it, but we did it.
You were in the moment.
In that moment, right?
Fell back.
But there's so much truth to that. By just backing out, repositioning, or reevaluating life to slowing down. Yeah. I think summer's hard for all of us.
It is. It's a lot to juggle. I mean, families. Yeah. Vacation. Most of your vacation blocks are in the summertime. It's hot. It's humid. The weather's all off. Things happen, and you get spread really thin.
Even at work, it's like nobody wants to be in the firehouse in summer. Yeah. It's hot. It's shitty. You go for 14 t-shirts a tour.
The AC's out in the house. They're telling you, hey, don't put it below 76. Yeah. We don't have money to fix it, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm just cooking all day.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that is everything in life. All we want to do is take the summer and slow down. Yeah. I think it's important we do that, even though I should take my own advice.
Right, we all should. Right?
But maybe next summer. But we still have half the summer left. So I'm telling myself, August, I'm shutting it down. September, I'll hit it hard. But
it's good.
In the business world, right? And as much as this is a passion and love, there's a business element to everything we do outside the fire service or outside our careers, It's almost like where I grew up, like Wednesdays, barbershops closed. Like the barber's day off, And then the first barber that kept open on Wednesday ruined it for everyone, because now everyone has to open on Wednesday. Yeah. Talking about coffee shops.
Yeah, we're talking about Aurora. Everything's closed on Monday.
I mean, the city's insane. Like, everything's closed on Mondays. One person opens on Monday. It ruins it for everyone.
Ruins it for everyone.
I worked in a pizzeria as a kid. They never delivered. This is before delivery was just so common, right? Pizzeria up the street opens up, they deliver. So now my buddy who owned the pizzeria is like, well, what the fuck, man? Now we have to deliver. So we hired all the kids, and I started as a pizza delivery man. We were delivering pizzas. He didn't want to do that. He actually called the owner up there and said, bro, listen, I don't want to deliver. If you don't deliver, we could be on the same page here. Yeah. He said no. So now we're delivering. Now everyone's delivering. Yeah. It's like you're losing momentum, I feel, but I think that's okay, because you come back stronger and then you have more endurance to keep going. You know, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
I don't know. It's something that I think that everyone struggles with. I said I wanted to talk about it. We're talking about it, but I hope you're living it because I'm not.
I try. I don't know. You know, it's one of those. I think I could listen to my own advice sometimes, or things that I say. Like, I know I need to do these things. It's just hard, right? Like, it's hard to, you know, hey, I need you to trade. Hey, can you cover me for 12 hours because I got this going on? Yeah, I mean, I got you. You know, and then hey, overtime's available. Okay, I've only been home for 24 hours. You know, and then gone for 36, home for gone for 48. And then I got a conference, and I got this, and then, oh, hey, we have this going on, you know, and it's like, you stop and you're like, oh man, I haven't been in my house for 12 hours straight in the last week, you know, and you're like, whoa. So it's hard sometimes.
This episode's brought to you by Ease Alert Heart Smart Alerting Solutions. Have you ever been jolted awake by a blaring station alarm only to sprint out half asleep, heart pounding? That's that legacy fire station alerting system, and it's doing much more harm than good. So meet Ease Alert, the world's first heart-smart firefighting alerting system. Designed by firefighters, proven by science, their purpose-built alerting devices deliver vibration and visual alerts, shaving seconds off of turnout times while improving health for the first responder. Ease Alert isn't just about comfort, it's about safety. Firefighters are 14 times more likely to die from heart attacks during alarm responses than during non-emergency duties. Ease Alert's Heart Smart system slashes stress, improves performance safety, and allows you to be the best firefighter you can be, on duty and at home. From bunk alerts and wristbands to dispatching consoles, display boards, and firehouse lighting, every component is purpose-built by firefighters for firefighters. No more missed tones, no more startled response, just fast, smooth, safe alerts. Fire departments across the country, like Mission, Texas, and St. Augustine, Florida, report calmer crews and faster turnout times. And their chiefs even say that the system is battle-tested and firefighter approved. So are you ready to switch? Visit easealert.com and discover how silent alerting can save time, reduce stress, and improve safety for you, your crew, and your community. Visit easealert.com to learn more, and tell them National Fire Radio sent you.
Can you talk a little bit about, for the guys that are listening, that are into art and whatnot, can you explain your journey throughout? Because we were talking about how you started sketching and doodling, and then you made the switch to the iPad. And how has that changed for you, or has that changed your art?
It's a lot easier, I think, just in the sense that I can, instead of spending $20 on markers or pens or brushes, I can change my pen type and what I'm using, you know, and I can start using watercolor or painting. But it was a big learning curve, but it also kind of helped me be able to, it made it a lot easier to be able to draw. You know, I didn't have to bring a backpack with a bag full of erasers and pencils and pens and markers and be halfway through a drawing and suddenly my marker runs out, or halfway through something and the pen runs out. I'm like, man. If you focus on the art more so than you do an end product of a store or being on a t-shirt or being able to do stuff, your art's going to show, I think, a lot better, and that'll all come in time, right? Like I've been drawing since I was a kid, and I started out with tracing my fire books that, you know, are Dad's, ISFA manuals and, you know, John Norman's book of, you know, fire officer book. Like I'd sit there and I'd draw, you know, trace over the fire truck, right? Like, and I figured out, oh, this is how I can draw that fire truck on my own, you know. But it's constantly building that up, and I think that there's a problem within the art community, the fire art community, within the fire service as a whole. Everybody wants that, like, oh man, I'm teaching on a stage at a conference, or I want that end goal without really kind of doing the steps to get there.
So that's a great way to look at it. And do you feel having the ability to be able to draw at any time and anywhere, on the plane, in the airport, and not having that backpack with all your brushes and your markers, do you think that sometimes you find yourself forcing art, where it's like, you know what, I have a deadline to meet, I'll just do it in the airport, like I said, you bang one out. It's like I feel with my writing, when you used to write freehand, I kept a ton of journals, I would freehand, and I would write when I had the time, or I had the motivation, or I felt inspired.
Yeah.
Now I find myself forcing stuff because I want to get a post out for tomorrow. Let me just, I had this fire last night, taxpayers. Let me force something out about taxpayers. Is the quality the same? Yes, but I don't think the emotion behind it's the same. I can read something when I'm really motivated and inspired. I can write something and read that to something where I just did it on the subway because I had to get something done.
Yeah.
I can see the difference.
Yeah.
Many people probably can't, but can you see that with your artwork as well?
Yeah, there's pieces that I can look back at and I'm like, oh man, I remember that when I was kind of forcing it. Or you can tell half of the pieces is really, like looking at it, you're like, wow, that's a lot of detail about these things, but then this seems kind of just blank and left undone. Like it wasn't finished. And it was because I got this far, got interrupted, or, took me 2 or 3 days to get back to finishing the piece, and then suddenly it's, I kind of rush just to get it out and post it. There's a lot of times I get like, I'll consciously think like, I haven't posted anything in a week or two, and you're like, oh, I got to put something out.
I think convenience takes away soul.
Yeah.
And I think that's real, but convenience does allow you to explore different levels of your creativity, maybe.
Yeah.
Simple as like the iPhone, right?
Right.
Taking photos with film. Yeah. I don't own a camera that has film anymore because the iPhones are so good. But the beauty of that is when I see anything in the moment, I can take a picture. It's a beautiful picture because I got to witness this moment. Let me document it. When you go out with the film, you're searching for creativity.
Yeah.
So I think it's a catch-22. I think it's good that you carry the camera, you have the film, you go to take photos. I'm going out to take photos today.
Yeah.
I think that's a forced form of art, where with the camera on your phone now, you're just like, oh, boom, I got something, and it's beautiful,
Yeah.
So I guess it goes both ways. But
And there's we own a film camera, and it's one of my favorite things to do is like when we travel and, stop. I was a photographer for years. My wife's still a photographer, and we both we really have to shift our brains when we use that film camera because it's so different than a DSLR, right? Like with my camera, I can take 125 pictures in a second, just holding that, right? That shutter speed's ridiculous. And the memory on it, I can't do that with the film camera. I have to be diligent and deliberate with what I'm capturing, how I'm framing it. And there's I think there's a beauty in it when, you spend all this time, you're sitting there in your mind, you're like, man, I can't wait to get that picture developed.
Yeah.
And then you get it back and it's overexposed, it's blown out, and you're mad at yourself, but then you look at it and you're like, no, it's it's a beautiful picture, right? Like it still has, it's that memory, and I get to remember like, man, that's such a cool spot. Cause I don't know, for me, I almost keep that in my mind more so because I wanted to capture this as best as I could, and then you get it back and you're like, wow, that's what I remember. Like, Yeah. So
the whole fire world with like the buffs and the old cameras, like there's some beautiful work. Obviously Mike Tick, right?
Yeah.
But we have the new guy, FDNY Fire Diaries, we were talking about earlier. He's documented a different side of the job through film, and I think that's special.
Yeah.
It's very raw, and it's very real.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've seen too much in the fire world with like that creativity from the outside looking in.
Right.
I think that's important because you look at these photos, you're like, wow, this guy's nailing this. He really nails the beauty of the job without really understanding the job. He's learning as he goes, but he wasn't like growing up in the fire service as a puff. He just took a picture of a fire truck one day, and he went to a fire, and he realized that these guys love this job. I'm going to document this.
Yeah.
And it took off for him from there. So
Like
we need more guys like that, that see the beauty of the job.
Yeah. It's the originality of it, right? Like you look at the market for tools or the training or anything, everybody's kind of a little bit regurgitating the same thing. But you look at the history of the fire service, right? Like it's just one big circle and it all comes around, right? Like VES is not anything new. They were doing it. Window initiated search is not anything new. They've been doing it since wooden ladders and horses and everything, right? Because that was, hey, this is the only way we can get through to this window to search, right? Like I got to throw a ladder and I got to go through, And there's places that have policies and procedures that say, hey, you can VES a window, but you cannot go through past that door. That's not allowed. Straight to jail, right? But it's...
So what happens if you do push the limit and you make a grab and save someone's life? On the backside, are you getting in trouble for that? Or?
If you save a life, you get a kudos and you get a medal. But if you get hurt, get injured, something else happens, you get this one, right? Like it's that You know, it's I'm going to say do as I say, not as I do, but it's one of those that it's like, this doesn't make sense. You know, and you talk to guys all over the place and they're dealing with the same things and the same problems.
What if you save a life and get hurt?
Yeah, it's right.
Now what?
Like, well, you get the Purple Heart then.
Yeah, but it's
you
just
know,
like,
but one of those that it's like, man, it doesn't make sense. Like Kevin Shea was talking, right? Like if you're, and I loved how he worded it. And I don't want to misquote him, but he's like, man, if you're not putting, you know, the families and the citizens of the city first, then you're in the wrong line of work.
Yeah.
You know, and like we were talking at the bar the other night, like it's my safety isn't because I'm staying outside or because I'm saying, oh, I'm safe. It's because I put sweat in on the training ground. I humble myself on the training ground, and we kind of tying back to what we were talking about earlier. Like I do the reps and I put in and do realistic scenarios enough that, hey, when the high-rise, you know, this fire alarm gets upgraded to a high-rise fire, we stretch, we get to the door, we control it, and we get in there, and we're like, oh man, dude, it went just like it did 6 hours ago when we were teaching the Pro Beat, right? Like,
yeah. We're divided in the job today where we have the individuals like yourself and I who look at the job as an art form, and then you have other individuals that look at it as a science.
Yeah.
And you know, they always say engine science, trucks art. I don't buy that.
Yeah.
I buy that the fireground is the ultimate form of art and expression. So we have to be very, very careful when we introduce absolutes on the fireground.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the fire science side of things are saying, well, these are the absolutes,
Yeah.
and we can't blur these lines.
Yeah.
And then on the creative side, they're saying there are no lines.
Right.
Have you crawled down my hallway? Because I saw things differently than how you saw it in your hallway. We have to be very careful with absolutes. Firefighting is very localized. You can't forget that.
That's very
West Coast versus East Coast, very different.
versus Midwest versus the South versus the North. Yeah, like it's.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so colorful, the fire service. That's why I like traveling, because here we are outside Chicago, and it's a different form of the job.
Yeah.
And you're from Texas, different form of the job. We all come together, have a couple beers, and we talk, and we learn, and we figure out what makes us tick versus what makes you tick, and that's the beauty of creativity on the fireground.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And that's what's the beauty of the fire service. Like, I love getting to talk to people, and hey man, where are you at? Where are you from? Like, you know, and then you kind of start getting into the typical fireman, you know, hey, what do you do on this? What do you get on that? You know, but it's always interesting to hear and see, like, man, how do you do things? Because it's the same job, but it's not the same anywhere, right?
Yeah.
It's the same profession, but the way we do it in my state's different than every city does it different, you know? Like, it's different depending on the coast. Again, Kevin Shea, heading back to him, right? Like, the garbage man doesn't take his union patch to another garbage collector. You know, I mean, you want to trade patch, right? But for us, that's a sign and a symbol of it's like, oh man, dude, this is cool. This is a part of you, you know?
Yeah.
Like my firehouse, we have a whole, in our kitchen, the top trim of the kitchen, it's nothing but all the patches from guys that have stopped by, you know, and we give them one of our patches and we glue it up on the wall, you know, and it's up there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's cool seeing other people come through and they look like, oh, whoa, look at all that. It's you get to see that brotherhood, right? And people throw that word out a lot, and sometimes I think it's a little overused and it's lost some of its meaning. But then there's those times like this, like being here, you know, you get to shake hands, give hugs, and hang out and have a drink with somebody.
We got to be careful with the word brotherhood.
Yeah.
I think there is some truth to brother my ass. I don't think that's the norm, but it's real.
It is real.
We are divided from the art to the science, relying on data versus relying on, well, that may work here. I see it this way because I experienced it differently, but I didn't record that data.
Right.
So data is another thing. Like, it's very important. It's good. There's a lot of value in it. But if everyone's not participating, how accurate is it?
Right.
That's another question. You're saying that there's so many different subcultures of society within the subculture and the subculture and the subculture of this wonderful fire service we love.
Yeah.
But you document it all flawlessly with your art, and you bring it together. I just wanted to take a minute, sit down with you. We talk for hours upon hours upon hours every time we're together. But I just wanted to hit record and just say, you know, like this is Zack, and he's a good dude, and he gets it, and this is why he gets it. You know.
I'm just a dude that doodles. You know that.
You always say that, man.
I know. Well, it's true. I don't feel like I'm anybody. You know, like I generally don't. It's a creative outlet, and you know, Like I do the AMAs on Instagram every once in a while, and it's one of those that it's not that I want to be come to me for questions or I'm getting answers I want to be able to give back, because I remember the guys in my dad's firehouse that sat there and stayed up late at night with me talking about stuff, how to stretch hose or how to pump or why they did this, or just talking life, like there was a lot of times that Dad taught me how to be a gentleman, and a man and stuff. But the guys at the firehouse stuff, they taught me how to be a fireman and everything else, and filled in all those gaps. So I owe it all to them. But I want to be able to give that opportunity to people, And nowadays with social media, there's a platform, and you have that ability to maybe mold a young kid that's arrogant or cocky, or has that, man, I want to be the next Mickey Farrell, right? And you get to
No, you don't.
But you get to answer a question for them or help lead them and guide them down something that, oh man, okay, like let me take a step back, or let me love the job like he's loving it. What's he doing different?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think what's cool about the circles you're running, it's we're all just a bunch of dudes, man. You're a dude that doodles. I'm a dude that goes in front of some people and talks about some fires. It's like we're all just a bunch of dudes that love the job and want to give back to the job. If you take the time to share that love with us, I think that the fire service in general will become unstoppable, because we're truly in a turning point. That ship could go either way.
Yeah.
But I think we're winning.
It's one of those, you go turn the ship, man, and you get in the chop, man. It's get real rough. And I really think as a fire service, we're in that weird transition right now where that ship's turning. It's just not moving as fast as we want it to, and it's getting a little bit rougher than what we thought it would.
A lot of the sailors on that ship have removed themselves.
Yeah.
And that ship's turning a little bit quicker now.
Yeah.
A little bit smoother. It's still choppy.
Yeah.
But and we see it even in social media. These accounts come and go. Negativity comes and goes.
Yeah.
If you keep it raw and real and organic and authentic, you can only win.
Right.
And that's success
Yeah.
of the future of the fire service. Truly, that if you find humility in anything in this world, find it in the fire service, because humility is the forward progression of what we do and what we love.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so truthful. I don't remember who said it years ago, but there's plenty of assholes in the world. I don't know if I can cuss. Can I cuss?
Yeah.
We can beep it out. But
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah. But there's plenty of assholes in the world. I don't need to be another one, right? And it's the same thing in the fire.
I love that.
Assholes in the fire service. I don't need to be another one, right? If stopping and hanging out with somebody, or having a beer, having a cup of coffee, I don't drink, but having a cup of coffee, cool, or being able to hear somebody's story, or that retired guy that messaged me years ago. Like, we interacted, and I couldn't tell you who that was or anything, but I remember that interaction, and that art piece meant the world to him. And there's been other art pieces that have meant the world to other people, There's some that, reference my dad. Engine with the two guys sitting on the tailboard, right? The Proby School knockoff, right? Like that one, that was me and my dad. Like I grew up sitting on his tailboard, and he and I always had, we kind of had a rule that, tailboard talks were sacred. Whatever we talked about, it stayed at the firehouse, and just like things do, but stay at the firehouse, and it was real talks between us. Mm-hmm. And to this day, I'll call him and ask, "Hey man, what are you doing?" He's, "Oh, I'm smoking a cigar," and I'm like, "Oh, cool," and that's, we talk, And there's times, we give each other advice, or we just talk about life, or vent, or express emotions and shit. But it's one of those that, it's a part of me going into that art, and there's something really vulnerable about that, because I mess up a lot, right? Like I'm really hard on myself about when I do mess up. But when I do it, I try to turn it into a funny joke or different things. And some pieces are way more lighthearted, like the hipster that moved into the neighborhood and was waving and jumping up and down in the middle of the street because the vacant across the street's blowing out of all four sides. And we're all in the, engine pulling down the block going, "Oh man, where's it at? I don't see it." We've seen the column of smoke since we pulled out of quarters. You translate that into art piece, you're like, man, this is just hilarious. You zoom in, there's a little ant mound jumping up and down too, right? Like, we see it, guy. Idiosyncrasies of the job and the little the little things that happen, guys can relate. And it's you see a bunch of people that knock off art, or they don't have an original idea, or hey man, we want this as our Proby School t-shirt. And it's like, no man, like, y'all's Proby School was y'all's, right? Mine was mine, yours was yours. You have stories from it that you can to this day think back on, and you laugh about it, and you're like, man, that was our school. Yeah, I'm sure there's some similarities, but you got to do something for you. You got to have that that original idea, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
You know, trying to kind of come back to that. But
I mean, for a guy that you say you're just a guy that doodles, I don't think you realize how many lives you've touched, how many moments you've documented, and how you've made people feel just from your doodles. You documented for me and surprised me with a beautiful drawing of me and my guys, not realizing that was the first moment that I felt like a company officer. And you can probably tell from that picture when I was standing there with my guys, like, I was the happiest man on earth at that moment.
Yeah.
And that I feel the greatest company with the greatest guys, and I was just so proud. And I think you picked up on that picture, and then you surprised me with just a guy that doodles, you know?
well, what you don't know about, that was one of those art pieces that I was in a rut. I didn't want to draw. I didn't want to do anything. And I was like, man, I want to do something. And was scrolling through Instagram, and you had shared that picture with a post on your story, I think. And I was like, man, it's such a badass picture. Like, there's something about it that I was like, man, it's a badass picture. And I was like, man, I haven't talked to Mickey in a minute. And I was like, I was surprising, you know. And I did it, and it was one of those. It kind of kickstarted another, like, oh man, I feel good about drawing.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And you asked me last night what I do with it, and I said nothing, because I love it so much. I don't know what to do with it. I want to put it somewhere special. I'm not sure where that place is yet.
Yeah, I get that.
I thought about the office and work, but I'm like, nah, I share that. This is my moment.
Yeah.
Thought about the studio, and I'm like, I want to be able to look at it more often than I'm at the studio. I don't know.
Frame it, throw it in the back seat of the car.
Yeah, I'll put it above my bed like this. I can stare at it every
Yeah,
night.
every night you look up.
All right, Zach, we gotta get out of here. They're gonna kick us
Yeah,
out.
I think they're about to kick us out.
All right, thanks, brother.
Hey, thank
Love
you.
you.
Love you.
All
Thank
right,
you
man.
for everything.
Thanks.